And this session, we're going to be talking about business intelligence analytics. So let's get started. Okay, what's a typical business application ecosystem that any company would have or any business would have? Is essentially this. You would have your marketing applications connected to your sales applications, your support applications, and IT, HR, finance. And over and above that, you tend to build custom applications to create workflows. Build custom applications, build extensions to Zoho CRM or application or workflows that are so unique to your business or processes that they can't be built within the other applications like the campaigns or, for example, let's say CRM or support applications. So you tend to build custom applications. And then the custom applications are not going to be independent. They're not going to be isolated applications. You would want them to be integrated with the other systems that you would have, which is your CRM, campaigns, desk, whatever that is. I mean, I'm not just talking about Zoho CRM. I'm talking about Salesforce. It could be Microsoft Dynamics. It could be campaigns applications, or it could be Google applications, Google Analytics, and whatnot, right? So this is the typical application, or rather the application ecosystem, right? So what about the data analytics ecosystem? You know, you have so many different applications. What tends to happen very quickly as you start using these applications is data starts piling up. One by one, system by system, you're adding more data, and then you're building up your entire database or the ecosystem where all the data gets stored. And usually, just about every other application, you've seen Zoho CRM, you've seen Salesforce CRM, you would have seen so many other different applications, right? Each of them have their own reporting modules. They have their own reporting. And your typical ecosystem now starts looking like this. You have each of your applications out there, and each of them have their own analytics module or reporting module. But is this what you want? Is this the holy grail? Yeah, I have applications. I'm running, marketing, sales, and so many different applications. But hey, this is good, but this is not where I want to be from a business perspective, because I need insights that span across all the applications and probably more applications and more data sets. A lot of people, I'm sure a lot of people track a lot of data in Excels. I want some data points that are in CSVs or Excel and pull them into my system and do analysis. So what you want to get to, or where you want to get to, is something like this. You want to basically blend the data across multiple applications and create reports and derive insights from the data that you have. Because all along what you've done is you have set up, you've automated your Salesforce and marketing automation. You have set up your support application to nurture and to kind of take care of your customers' support needs. And your marketing is taken care of by campaigns. Just your Salesforce automation is done by CRM. Great, but there's no point in me trying to do, for example, let's say a simple, and obviously you'll be using finance applications like QuickBooks, or it could be Zoho Books. Trying to look at my Salesforce or CRM analytics in isolation of the finance application, it just doesn't cut it, right? I mean, it gives me an insight about silos. I see CRM analytics, great, but then when I blend it with finance, that's when I get everything. I get more understanding about my business, right? So that's what integrated analytics is all about. You want to kind of get or mash information across multiple systems and get them going. Okay, cool. What is going to drive this kind of an application or an integrated analytics system? What you would essentially need, I would need a system that's capable of taking in data from various sources. It could be other cloud applications. It could be relational databases or any other databases that I would have in my ecosystem, in my company that I'm running, maybe a SAP database or SAP or an Oracle database I may have. And Excels, ton of Excels. A lot of businesses still use a lot of Excels, a lot of information about their business in there. I want to make use of that data. I want the system to be able to kind of help me with analyzing and assessing the data types. For example, if I'm feeding a system a simple CSV or an Excel file that has, let's say, a date column and a currency column, I want the system to automatically identify the data type. It kind of helps me with cleaning up the data so that I know a certain field is a date. I want it to be automatically. I don't want to go and specify everything to the nth level of detail to build out my reporting system or analytics system. And as it may be required, by and large, you would want to have some, or the ability to add some statistical or mathematical formulas across different fields that you have across these applications, right? And I would say I need a drag and drop interface to create reports. I don't want to be a data scientist. I don't want to be a data analyst. I just know my business. I know my data. I've made sure that my data is good, my data is clean. I want to create reports because nobody understands my business better than I do, right? And then I also want the ability to have different kind of visualization. Somebody may say, oh, I want to see a graph as a bar chart, but somebody says, oh, I need to see it as a pie chart. Based on who the user is, who is the consumer of the data, they may want a different representation of the data. And that's where Zoho Reports comes in. And Zoho Reports is essentially a self-serve business intelligence application, and I'm going to go through the demo pretty quickly. It's going to be pretty detailed. I'm going to do a lot of things, introduce you to the product, create few reports, show some existing reports, and how you can interact with these systems, with the reports is what I'm going to talk about. Now, how does analytics help? It helps you to create metrics that can tell you something about your, that can help you predict something about your business. So that's a metric that's futuristic in nature, technically, or in by and large. Let's say in a CRM, you would want to create a forecast report, something that a VP of sales is measured by 3 quarters. He doesn't meet his numbers, boom, he's fired. So as a VP of sales, what I need from my CRM or my reporting or an analytics application is when I go into the system, I want to see what my forecast is and what is the confidence intervals. Like at 25% probability, what's the kind of deals I'm going to close? At 100% confidence interval or probability, what's the number that I'm going to make? Month upon month or quarter upon quarter. The second most important, or probably this is just, I wouldn't probably put a priority upon the kind of analytics or how analytics helps. The second one is extremely important, where you say actionable insights. That is probably the first thing that you want to do. More than try to predict what your business is going to look like in future, what you want to understand based on the data that you have accumulated is, give me insights that I can act upon. Simple example, a run campaign for a new product introduction. Which campaign type between emails, between social feeds, between PRs, and between conferences where I've basically showcased this product, where did I get the best bang for the buck, right? What was the budget that I was allocated to each of these campaigns? What was the estimated revenue that you thought you would make because of this investments? And what's the actual revenue that you make? Absolutely important, because the next time when you try to introduce a new product for a specific kind of industry, then you kind of understand. You interact with the data and say, okay, yes, for the communications line of business that I'm servicing, or for the military kind of service, for the military industry when I do any kind of service, I choose different kinds of campaigns based on which one gives me the maximum return on investment. And finally, business KPIs that are probably very specific to the kind and nature of business that you have. For example, Zoho as a company, we tend to have a KPI that is very dear to us. It's revenue per employee. That's the business that we're into. That's the kind of KPIs that we measure internally for ourselves. It really depends on what is your business, and you define what is the right KPI for your business. You can create these custom KPIs and monitor them. These are the things that analytics should typically help you with, and this is what Zoho Reports will help you with, right? Let me just get into a Zoho Reports. So this is the homepage for Zoho Reports. What I'm going to do is talk to you about some of the features of the product. By default, it has the ability to connect, or it lets you load data from Excel, from local disk, or you can basically point to some HTML files that are on the web and import the data. So this import data section, you'll find this interesting because we have a lot of default connectors. You can have your data on a cloud storage like Zoho Docs or Google Docs or Dropbox. You can connect to cloud databases. Let's say you're a company that's running its MySQL instance or an Oracle instance on Amazon or Redshift or anything of that sort. You can connect to those databases. using the cloud database option, connector option. If you have a local database in your organization, you can set up connection between them and load the data from there. And we have, as you can see, quite a lot of connectors for different types of SaaS applications. Most of them are within Zoho. You have Zoho Projects integration, Zoho Books integrated. You have Bug Tracker, Zoho CRM, Zoho Desk, and also Zoho Campaigns. It's going to be coming up pretty soon. And over and above that, you have Salesforce, Zendesk, MailChimp, and Google Analytics, and so on and so forth. So these are all default connectors. A word about the default connectors. It's just not connection. When you connect Zoho Reports with any of these pre-built connectors, all of them, just about each one of them at least will have no less than 50 reports automatically generated for you. You don't have to create the reports. We have pre-created the reports, canned reports, interactive reports, which I'll be showing you in the next few minutes. But the idea is when you connect to any of these services, you don't have to do anything from scratch. We have reports pre-built. You can interact with the data day one the moment you have the connection enabled. What I'm going to do now is to kind of show you a simple example as to how powerful the system is. And for that, what I'm going to do is, first off, I'll show you a typical dashboard. I'm going to go to the Salesforce CRM Analytics. And here, I have the activities dashboard based on the tasks that have been created in my Salesforce instance. So I have all these tasks here. You have events and tasks as the activities, and you'll observe pretty quickly that how dynamic this whole data set is. I just want to see the events. I don't want to see any tasks. You just go in here and uncheck the task legend, and automatically, you have started interacting with the data already. You're now kind of segmenting data. You're interacting with the data. It's dynamic. Nothing is static here. And then I see, okay, Q1 2017, I've had over 2,000 events. Right? I just want to now drill down and see which month had those kind of events. Which month in that quarter had the maximum number of events. I just want to drill down. Right click, I'm going to just click on it, drill down by due date, and you see, do you want to see the week and the year? I'll probably do the week and year. And then it tells you in that quarter which week had the maximum, or the spread of events in that quarter across different weeks. Right? Now, week number 01 seems interesting to me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drill down again. And I'm going to see, okay, who was the activity owner? There's a lot of activities here, and I want to see the spread of this activity across the owners of these activities. So there you go. Harold Paulon has had the maximum number of events in that week. Cool, interesting visual, but this talks about what people have done. I don't want to see this as a bar graph. I want to see this as a chart. So all that I'm going to do is, that's it. At this point, what happens is I'm interacting with the data live, and then I'm changing and interacting and playing with the data as I'm looking at this. So this is a very simple example, very powerful. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to import a simple CSV file and show you the power of the system and how the system can automatically generate reports for anybody who's interested. So I'm going to call this Zoholics database. Say I have it in Zoho Docs. You browse, and this is the AdWords, which is essentially the Google AdWords CSV that I have. And I'm going to say create the database table. And so at this point, the data has been imported, and reports is prompting me if I want to actually automatically create reports. And I'm going to say, yes, do that for me. And then nothing done. It analyzes the data. It thinks, okay, these are interesting insights that you get from the data that you have fed me, right? So there you go. Here's a dashboard, which is essentially giving me the cost analysis of the AdWords campaign that I've had, right? And then I'm going to say, okay, show me, and it's automatically create all of these. And then session analysis and AdWord-wise group sessions. So how many sessions for each of these AdWords and so on and so forth. Does cost analysis across each of the ads that have been done in this AdWord campaign. So not a click of just a click of a button, and then you have all these insights and something that you can play with. Now, let me just show you something really interesting. I can just edit this and then say, okay, I want to see it on the basis of I want to basically filter it on the basis of time. I don't want to see everything. So let's say show me relative period, multi-select box, boom. So now I've basically created yet another level of the ability to segment the data, and I've just dragged and dropped the date column into this filter. And now what I see now is for all the period of time where these Google AdWords campaigns have been run. I want to change this to, I just want to see this for the last 3 quarters. And automatically, it's drilling down and getting the data that's relevant to this time period. It's not picking out anything else, right? And again, you can drill down from each of these reports, or you can just look at the data under the hood. And this is essentially the data that it's picked up from the CSV. All right, so you said all about ecosystem and how about all these blended analytics and whatnot. Am I going to have my user log into Zoho Reports to get all these reports? The answer is no. You can actually take these reports and embed them into the other applications that you have. You can create references, URL references, and have them embedded in any of other applications that you have. And thereby, when a user logs in, let's say to the CRM system, they don't have to come to Zoho Reports to look at the reports. You do the reporting here, you create the reports, and you decide based on the user privileges which reports should be viewed by who, and you can just share them from here, as I can do here. I'll just show you real quick. I'm going to share it with this user, and then I can specify the privileges. Is he just going to have a read access, or can he interact with the data, so on and so forth? Any filters, let's say I just want him to see the records pertaining to a certain period, or maybe a certain keyword. I can specify that here. So when the user tries to access this report, they're only going to see the report that he's been authorized to, and the data is also segmented. It's not going to be everything. So you can decide what you want to share and how you want to share it, and this becomes a URL. So this is essentially the URL, and you can actually embed this into any application. The next thing is data blending. Okay, let's say you're using Zoho CRM and Zoho Books, and I have the cost of goods in my invoice system, whereas my CRM is only tracking whether the sale has been made or not. Now, if you want to basically try to look at a profitability matrix or do the product profitability analysis, you need to blend the data across these two systems. Identify the cost of goods for the product, see the amount of sale that you have made in Zoho CRM, the sum of all the total of all the sale, and then come up with this matrix. So you need to take in data from both the systems, and that's again something that Zoho Reports helps you with. You can blend data across different services, and you can create data blending or reports based on data blending. The key takeaway, guys, is you're not going to have any analytic strategy. You're just going to be blindsided because you're not going to have visibility into your business. Every user is going to, or let's say the marketing department has its own insights, great. The sales department has its own. But then unless you blend it and bring everything together, that's not going to be of much use from an organization perspective. Be data-driven. Analytics is all about actionable insights. The predictive analysis and all those things, that's the holy grail, no two ways about it. But the fact of the matter as to why businesses need analytics is to have insights that are actionable. And then the fact that, and also, no matter which system you try to use or you tend to use, it should have role-based metrics. You should be able to create reports and charts for specific groups of users or specific departments. It's not one size fits all. It cannot be that way. And most importantly, as businesses that have to be nimble and agile, nobody can invest in data scientists and a big data ecosystem and so on and so forth. Yes, if you have the money, yes, totally you can do it. You need to do it, totally yes. But it's not necessary. With the likes of Power BI, with the likes of Tableau and everybody else, self-serve BI is the biggest market today. There are a ton of applications out there, and Zoho is really leading the edge there, has the edge there. We've been doing this for 10 years now. The back end was built over a period of 10 years. We're working on the front end, and that's also undergoing a lot of changes. Quite a few people have been using it, and a lot of people will even be able to testify to the kind of capabilities and the price points at which Zoho comes. We are just leading the pack, but we're trying to create more awareness around it. There's going to be a lot of work around that, and we are totally committed to this.